Well, thank you, Priyanka and Preeti. In fact, the major news, apart from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's business leaders meeting yesterday, which boosted the Indian markets, is the global markets ending in green after a long time. We will be bringing that as well and other stories in the top lines first.
Finance Ministry says knee-jerk reaction is not the answer to the current challenges being faced by India and assured that measures initiated by the government will boost growth. Economic Affairs Secretary Shaktikanta Das tweeted the same. This comes amidst Indian capital and currency markets witnessing volatility for the past few weeks, mainly on account of slowdown in China, devaluation of the yuan, and the expected interest rate hike by the US Federal Reserve later this month. Amid the global economy witnessing mixed trends, Paris-based think tank Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) said India is expected to see firming growth while the outlook for China continues to deteriorate. The readings are based on composite leading indicators that are designed to anticipate turning points in economic activity relative to trend. India's composite leading indicators stood at 99.8 in July. After quite a time, global markets end in green yesterday. US stocks rose more than 2%, followed by China-fueled rebound in global equities. European stocks also had a banner day on news Germany's imports and exports hit record highs in value terms in July. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is meeting with representatives of corporate India on weathering the global economic turbulence pushed Indian markets up. German company Siemens touched to India's major initiatives. Indian government said that German conglomerate Siemens has offered to implement integrated solutions for the smart city development projects in the country. Also giving boost to Make in India initiative, Siemens to invest $1.1 billion and hire 4,000 people to add to its existing workforce of 16,000 in the country. Reliance Jio Infocom has asked handset manufacturing partners to make 4G phones in India. If the mobile phone makers agree on a configuration with Reliance Industries, then the retail unit of Mukesh Ambani-led group will buy all the handsets they make in India. Reliance has approached mobile handset makers Micromax, Lava, Carbon, Intex and Lenovo among others. Amid rising instances of call drops, sector regulator TRAI has convened a meeting of CEOs of telecom firms today to discuss the issue and work out a solution to deal with it. Apart from call drops, other issues concerning the industry will also be discussed at the meeting. The United States Labor Department has cleared Infosys Limited of any wrongdoing and closed its investigation after American technology workers at Southern California Edison complained their jobs were wrongfully outsourced to foreigners working on H-1B visas. Infosys has confirmed the same.
Well, those are the top lines. If we come back to the markets, in fact, the markets news will be bringing smiles on everyone's faces because markets have come back to the green after a long time. If you look at the Asian markets have given a strong rebound today. In fact, the Chinese markets, after the confidence that investors got that the Chinese markets will be getting some sort of stimulus from Chinese government is something interesting, and then that is actually boosting the sentiments of the markets. Nikkei was almost up by 676 points. Hang Seng of China is up by almost over 800 points today. Shanghai Composite up by 90, SGX Nifty up by 66 points. Complete positive cues from the Asian markets. Good news for the Indian markets too. Moving on to the US markets, how the US markets closed yesterday. In fact, the US markets have continued the similar trend, taking cues from Asian markets yesterday. Dow Jones was up by almost 390 points. S&P 500 up by 2.51%, Nasdaq by 2.73%. In fact, if we go to the European markets, the same story, the same trend has been repeated in the European markets as well. If we look at the European markets, the FTSE 100 and also the DAX, both of them are almost up by 1.15 to 1.65% in between these percentages. In fact, the European markets actually have gone up by the positive trends shown by the German trade data. And moving on, coming back to the Indian markets after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting with the business leaders have got tremendous boost. The sentiments have been up, and then BSE Sensex was almost up by over 420 points, and then CNX Nifty up by almost 125 points. So that is the story of Indian markets. And today's cues from the Asian markets are really positive, and Indian markets are expected to trade once again in green today. And moving on to the rupee story against the various currencies, the rupee story against dollar. Rupee has shown its strength, up by almost 0.27 levels at 66.55 levels when it ended. And the rupee story against the euro it's a different story, but it was marginally down by almost 0.23 levels, rupee, and stabilized around 74.47 levels, because the European equity markets have shown strength, and that actually has given some strength to the euro against rupee. And then the rupee story against yen. Rupee has once again shown strength upon yen. It has almost up by 0.0050 levels, stabilizing around 0.5547. So this is the rupee story against various important currencies across the globe. And if we go back to the commodity markets news to check the crude oil prices at the international level, the Brent crude is at $49.52 per barrel, up by almost $1.89 dollars per barrel. And moving on to the gold and silver prices, the gold prices, if you look at the gold, is around 24,406, down by 94 rupees. That is the gold story at the end of the market yesterday in India. And if we go back to the silver is also up by almost 477 rupees, and silver is stabilized around 35,670 rupees. So that is the silver price in India when it closed, up by almost over 475 rupees. So, well, that is the news. In fact, positive news coming to the markets, and then the news to cheer for the markets and also the investors. Well, that's all in the finance world. Once again, back to Priyanka and Preeti.
Thank you.